juicy drive-in hamburger, the burger that seemed to burst from the bun. And how about those old-fashioned onion rings, sliced, double-dipped, and breaded by hand? And oh, those Polish sausages, so thick you had to nibble instead of bite. Can't you just taste them all right now? Well, you can at the Runza Huts and Runza Drive-Ins of America. And you thought all we had were Runzas.
If you were to ask anyone what a Runza is, they might have a loose idea. But if you were to ask a Nebraskan what a Runza is, more likely than not, they'll have gushing reviews over the meat and cabbage-filled sandwich. The Runza sandwich was popularized in Nebraska, resulting in the 85 Runza restaurant locations located in the Midwest. But although the recipe's roots run deep here, it does not originate from Nebraska. The dish comes from Europe, where it was adapted from the traditional Russian recipe called a pierogi, which can be translated literally to little pies. The Volga Germans then later adapted the recipe to create the bierok, a yeast pastry sandwich filled with meat, onion, and cabbage. The recipe made its way to the United States when the political climate turned against the Volga Germans. They were forced to emigrate to the United States, where they would later settle in communities across the Great Plains. The emigrated families brought their bierok recipes along with them, including the Brenning family who settled near Sutton, Nebraska. Sarah, or Sally Everett, whose last name was originally Brenning, fine-tuned the name and family recipe to what is now known as a Runza, adapting it from an existing German name for it, the Krautruns.
My grandmother opened the first Runza restaurant, and prior to that, she was busy raising 4 children and making a Runza sandwich at home for her family and neighbors, and she started a business doing it. And of course, as a female in 1949, very entrepreneurial to establish her own business.
As the sandwich gained popularity, Everett and her brother Alex Brenning began to sell the sandwiches to the town and eventually opened up their first Runza restaurant in Lincoln, Nebraska. Originally called Runza Drive-In, the store's main menu item was the Runza sandwich. The term Runza was later copyrighted by Sally. One of Sally Everett's sons, Donald Everett Sr., decided to do something bigger with his mother's dream. Everett Sr. hung up his cleats after playing football for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and in 1966 began to make and sell Runzas on game days.
When he started his business in 1966, his first Runza, he bought a mail truck, an old mail truck, and opened up the back end of it, pulled up next to the stadium and started vending Runza sandwiches. He was so enthusiastic about it and really didn't have a plan B. He just believed in himself and thought, I think I can really make a go of this.
Everett Sr. then went on to help his mother franchise the Runza restaurant chain in 1979. As the sandwich gained popularity, 85 restaurants were able to open, 80 of those being in Nebraska, 2 in Iowa, 2 in Kansas, and 1 in Colorado. The restaurant eventually was able to get their product into Memorial Stadium thanks to Everett Sr.'s efforts, and now sells over 10,000 sandwiches during each home Husker football game. The Runza restaurant chain is now owned by Everett Sr.'s son, Donald Everett Jr., who shares the same love for the Runza sandwich that his grandmother once did.